Once upon a time, there was a boy named Peter. He stayed at a place called Hocking Hills State Park. He loved being surrounded by peace and wilderness and wanted to live here since he was a little boy. He is now 57 years old and thought the only place he wanted to be the rest of his life was a place he can actually be himself. Peter's always been a guy who wanted to be outside and enjoy the beautiful wilderness than be locked up in a house. He says you only have one life, live it the best you can. He settled down with his family. He didn't enjoy it as much as being surrounded by what he loves. So when he was finally free from his old life, he decided to live the rest of his life at Hocking Hills, where he spent all of his retirement money. He used to always travel here with his family. Peter had a wife and 2 boys named Alvin and Curtis. He loved being with his family, but his youngest boy died of osteogenesis imperfecta, and after that loss, he decided never to let himself go again. He was always going to be surrounded by what he loves. In my sculpture, I would sit on it every time they came to look at the lake because he loved being surrounded by wilderness just like Peter. Peter and Alvin were most alike. After the loss of his son, he felt like he lost a piece of him. Of course, he loved the oldest too, but Curtis was more into sports, and that wasn't Peter's cup of tea. Peter and Curtis didn't always get along after their mom left when they were 5 and 7. So Peter was always trying his best for his children, but Curtis didn't always accept his effort. Curtis was a mommy's boy, and after she left, he blamed Peter. Peter would always beat himself up about it because he has no control over what happened. And Curtis was all gone, and Peter was on his own. He went back to Hocking Hills in memory of his son Alvin. As he was living at Hocking Hills State Park, he met a girl whose name was Annika. He went over to ask where her family was and why she was all alone. She said, "I don't have a family. I've been in foster care since I was 3. I found my way here because I wanted a fresh start somewhere beautiful." Peter was so heartfelt and felt sorrow and was sorry for her misfortune. He asked her if she'd eaten anything and would like some stew from his cabin. She replied, "That would be much appreciated." He wanted to make her feel like she wasn't alone because as a child, Peter was in foster care as well. He felt sympathy for what she was going through. He says, "It's not easy to go through that alone. Do you have anyone with you?" he asks. Annika says, "No, my dad was into heavy drugs and my mom just didn't want me." He felt like he's known her his whole life because of what they were sharing with each other. He feels like he found a friend. Peter says, "It feels good to know that someone has gone through almost the same thing he has because all this time he felt like he was all alone." After he meets Annika, he now feels like he's not alone and feels like he found his peace again. The missing piece after he lost his youngest son, Alvin. He's made sure she has a home and they go to visit each other a lot. They go on walks every morning just like Peter and Alvin would. He thanks her a lot because if it wasn't for her saving him and Peter finding his missing piece again, Peter wouldn't have been able to live here. He's so happy he found a friend and that he's helped Annika. They live happily ever after as really good friends who know they're not alone anymore.